Howdy. Welcome back to Financial Freedom for the Lazy Person. The question is, are you lazy enough to want to make work optional? If you want your questions answered during a live stream, I do a live stream every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific that lasts as long as the questions do. This is going to be a nice short live stream for those people who would never click on a 2-hour video. When I stopped working for money, I got rich. From the age of 8 to 40, I worked for money. Overtime, side hustles, saving, saving, saving. That never made me rich. It just made me tired. The moment I stopped working for money, everything changed. That's when the freedom clock starts. We all have a freedom clock. Most people never hit the start button. We're all taught to chase money, work for promotions, work overtime, work more hours, make more per hour, save, and then save some more. But money isn't the goal. That's what tripped me up for all those years. The last thing I want is a whole bunch of money in the bank. I would lose sleep. Actually, I did lose sleep when I had money in the bank. Have you met inflation? The goal is ownership, not money. Assets that make money while you sleep, while you play, while you travel. Money buys assets. Assets buy freedom. Because assets create money. Money that you work for is not as good as money that you create. Money that you work for, where you sell your life 1 hour at a time, is taxed, usually at the highest rate. Money that's created usually isn't taxed at all, or hardly any. Most of the years of my life, I made less than $60,000 and paid somewhere around $8,000 to $15,000 a year in taxes. Since I've been retired for 3 years now, in a decade of investing, I still haven't paid a penny in rental income tax. In the last couple of years, I made over $200,000 in profit each year. Didn't pay a penny in rental income tax. Overtime and side hustles funded the down payments, not the money, the down payments. Don't think of it as money. Think of it as what buys the asset. You might choose stocks or crypto, or hopefully you started earlier than I did. If you haven't started yet, today is that day. If you start today, you're in the graduating class of 2035. Here's another way to look at it. The money that set me free, I didn't earn it. I borrowed it. Banks financed most of it. I let leverage do the heavy lifting. I know some people are debt averse, but debt set me free. I wish I had more of it. I let the assets pay off the debt. Assets that grow in value. Tenants that pay off the debt. Inflation that pays off the debt. Inflation-based debt destruction is something Jason Hartman talks about often. It's a real thing. I believed it when I heard him talking about it, but now that I've been experiencing it for years, it's phenomenal. We all talk about knowing that person who bought a house in 2015 or 2005, and you think, man, it would be nice to have that house at that price now. Well, it's not the price. That's not what they paid for it. Most times people borrowed the money from the bank at a time when everybody said it was too expensive and interest rates were too high. But then 10 or 20 years has passed. Eventually it's going to be 2035 or 2045, and people are going to be saying, I wish I bought in 2025 when the prices were that, and you had that much time for inflation to destroy the debt, not just paying it off. Imagine if you bought a place in your area in 2005 or 2015 and hadn't paid off a penny. What would that look like now? How much more would it rent for than what that payment would be if you started paying it now? So I borrowed the money. I didn't even earn it. I just borrowed it. And then I let the assets pay it off. I also did some small value adds along the way, right? I would add a closet to a den to make an extra bedroom, or I'd add a storage shed and let the tenants rent storage space. It didn't take much effort to create long-term increase in income in like a residual income. How many people think, oh, I want to write a book or I want to create music that somebody buys and you create that residual income? You can actually create residual income with a dividend stock portfolio. Or if you watch Coach Nick Massey on the YouTube channel, and it's called Lead, Pray, Hodl. And you find ways to make money with crypto, residual money that you don't have to sell your life for 1 hour at a time. I wasn't just earning money because I was working that time. I was working overtime. I was playing a side hustle, World of Warcraft, selling things online to get money to buy the assets with. I wasn't buying money. I was buying wealth streams, like income streams that were compounding income streams that I didn't continue to have to work for. This is what I'm trying to get you to do because money you have to work for doesn't set you free. It traps you. I don't want you to be trapped. Once I realized money wasn't the goal, I stopped chasing it. Every asset moved the hands of the freedom clock closer to independence. And yeah, it took a decade. Time became the metric, not dollars. After a decade of investing, I was able to make work optional. After 30 years of working, it finally dawned on me that money was the wrong metric to be chasing, that time freedom, that financial freedom was even a possibility. The assets that I acquired are working way harder than I ever did. They don't take days off. They don't hate Mondays. I want to have a kind of a debate. So I'm going to give closing arguments. What I want you to do is in the comments below. If you disagree with me, if you think buying assets is stupid, if this is your first time on my channel and you think you just hate capitalists and you have a good closing argument, give me yours. When I stopped working for money, this is how I got free. For over 3 decades, I did what everybody says. I was hardworking. I did what everybody that else is hardworking does. I worked overtime. I climbed the corporate ladder. I started at 8 in the onion fields in California. My dad left me and my mom and some siblings in California when I was 8, and I started working in the onion fields. Then I got a job at a donut store. And then I worked in the family tree service, and then the Marines, and I was a cop and a truck driver. And I've always had a job where I sold hours for money. I thought maybe there'll be a pension. And then the Marine Corps downsized after Desert Storm, and then law enforcement downsized after 2008. But when I was 40, after the law enforcement downsized, I think I was hoping for so security and a pension to make retirement bearable. Don't get caught living on hopium. I never got rich doing that. I just got tired. Working for money is like being on a treadmill. It's just disguised as progress, right? You move fast, you sweat a lot, and you're in the same spot. My actual turning point at 40 is when I fired my boss, money. I continued to work to take the money from the job to buy the assets. Right? The overtime checks and side hustle income that used to vanish into bills vanished into down payments. I stopped chasing income and I started chasing ownership. Every duplex, every rental, every unit I bought was another silent employee that didn't complain, that didn't take days off, and worked 24 hours a day for me. Based on the evidence, like the evidence in this case is crystal clear. The appreciation, the properties increased in value while I slept. Not just what I invested, but I got the appreciation on what the banks invested for me. The debt pay down? The tenants keep paying down the debt, which is like adding money to a savings account that I don't actively contribute money to that continues to grow. Inflation worked for me. Imagine inflation being your best friend. This is why Michael Zuber from One Rental at a Time has the t-shirt that says, I used inflation to get rich. Ask me how. The value add, adding a closet to a den, or adding a storage shed, small changes that I still continue to get money for every single month, years after it happened, that didn't take me any time or energy or effort. I paid somebody to do it with the money from the assets. The difference between working for money and having money work for you, when you stop working, does the money still come in? Or do you need some social program to hold you up? My verdict is I admit it. I stopped working for money. I'm guilty as charged. My sentence? Freedom. I said my assets don't know that it's Monday or don't hate that it's Monday. Neither do I. My poor friends that I text, I have no idea if it's 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon because I don't care what time it is or what day it is. Absolute freedom came from not having to sell my life 1 hour at a time, not having to care about what somebody's opinion of me is, like a boss or a customer. Because now every time somebody tells me their opinion, I just open up my banking app and I see if their opinion had an impact on the numbers in there. I stopped being an employee of money and I started being the CEO of assets. And now, while most people are still punching a clock, my assets are clocking in for me every day. I think the evidence speaks for itself. When I stopped working for money, I got rich, not just in dollars, but in time, peace, most important to me, options. Let me know in the comments below. Do you have a good argument for working for money instead of freedom? And if you want your questions answered during a live stream every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I do a video that lasts as long as the questions do, and I will even answer the rude questions. And then I'm going to wrap this video up with a warning as I thank the sponsor of this video, Skull Vodka, who absolutely doesn't sponsor this video. They just make it possible. I think one of the best things that you can do for your financial future is figure out how to cut advertisements out of your life. I make a joke about advertising a vodka that doesn't sponsor these videos. But there is somebody out there with a marketing degree and years of experience that knows how to use tone, light, pauses, music to trigger some fear or attraction that makes you want to buy something you didn't know existed an hour ago. Streaming services without commercials, YouTube Premium without commercials. Even if the content creators somehow make less, I'd be fine with that. Stop watching commercials. Don't let somebody else dictate what you do because they're going to take the money away from the things that you could buy assets with and talk you into spending it on something that doesn't make your financial future better. Have a day full of amazing, and remember, you will be alive in 10 years. Start investing like it. Thanks, Adam, for the super chat. I appreciate it. And members only, remember there is a members only call in 17 minutes where we learn the skill of analyzing a deal. Ciao.